Hello, hi everyone. I think we are on live right now. Prida, it's been such a long time. How are you?
Hi there. I'm really very good.
Yeah, Prida, it's been such a long time since we had this supper girl talk. Tell us
Yes.
what's happening in your life and what's going to happen.
What's happening in my life? I will just say that the past few days I have been grading my students' assignments.
Yeah.
The reason is because I'm rushing with the grading. That's one thing. The reason is because I'm going to Sydney very soon.
Okay.
I'm going to go and visit my family and probably have a great time there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not going to be too cold or too hot. But I heard it's raining almost every day in Sydney. That's what I heard of.
Now, just a second because I'm checking on to see if we are on live. Um, I don't
I
know.
think
It
yes.
seems that we are not on live at all.
Oh, we are. I just checked.
Oh, we are. Okay. Maybe mine is delayed. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Vicky Esther Chang, and we are live in Singapore, really just broadcasting to you live to the end of the world. I'm always excited when it comes to something like this because that's the real marvel of technology. We are going to the ends of the earth, and anyone can just log in, and of course, we're talking about entering into this artificial intelligence era. And if those of you who are still in the old era, I'm just going to call out to remind everyone we're already in the new era. Uh, Please look below. I've got a couple of podcasts where the AI robot interviewed me. I've got three AI bots that interviewed me. One is a female, two are male, I should say AI avatars. They actually literally know about me, and they interviewed me, or I would say I asked them about me. So please go to the podcast below, look at some of these videos, which kind of just blows your mind. And of course, I've got my series. Shout out to Alex Chan, the AI and Humanity podcast series with him um, below. And we've already got a book, ebook out, which is AI and Humanity, Your Destiny. So, Prita, I do know that you're going away to down under. Tell us about your trip. How is it going to be like?
Okay, so I mean, when I go there, I usually meet up with my family members who are living there. We
Yeah,
do spend a lot of time, going for nice meals, nice
yeah,
cafes. And
yeah,
what I really like to do there is to enjoy the nature.
yeah,
So we have, the Bondi Beach. It's a very
yeah,
famous beach in Australia, in Sydney specifically. And then we
yeah,
have the Manly Beach as well. So the Manly Beach is really great, the Manly Beach. And then, of course, I want to go to the city. I want to go to Queen Victoria Building. There's a lot of nice shopping areas over there, the CBD area, they call that
yeah,
area. It's very crowded, but sometimes you
yeah,
really get nice clothes, nice things over there. And then you
yeah.
can go to the iconic Sydney Opera House. I would love to do a TikTok video. You should follow me on TikTok as well, dolly.girl.sg. So, yeah, I mean, I'm also happy to meet my friends there because I used to study there and I would love to meet them and hang out with them. I think it'd be quite fun, taking the ferry, doing some nature walks, going to
Yeah.
some nice shops, and having a different experience out of Singapore after a long time, you see. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also would like to tell everyone I've been heading to the beaches quite often in the last couple of, I should say, last couple of months while I think I was away from podcast, even though, I did post some of the stuff out. I went away to the beach because I really needed just to get away from the hustle bustle and all these news that's coming to your mind. There's a lot of news that's happening. Well, some of it are all right if you kind of anticipate them, and if some of them are just twists and turns of the world events. So, I'm trying to kind of like let all the realities of the world sink in. Yeah, so I'm back just for today. So just to make a formal announcement to everyone and also to Prita, whom everyone knows here. Prita has been with me for some time for the podcast season. Uh, I should say that women and girls. We talked about that, humanity, women and girls. Um, this is actually 2025 is actually my 10th social media year. So
Wow, so amazing.
I started off in
Applaud.
January. Thank you. I
Good
started off,
sign.
yes, I started off in um, 2015, and there are many, many reasons. Um, I should say there are many push factors that pushed me into YouTube because I started YouTube. Um, there are many reasons I started, but at the end, there were many kind of more meaningful objectives and more meaningful purposes that kind of set in that made me go forward. Things kind of you kind of get new purposes as you do certain things. So I started off 20 uh, January 2016 um, because my mom passed. I think people do know that I wrote a book in dedication to my mother, Candle in the Wind, Dreams of a Daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, I started off the podcast, or I should say, I started off on social media, YouTube, because I wanted to document lives of people. And I started off um, back those days, even before YouTube, is I wanted to document the life of my mother, writing her about just getting her stories before I started the podcast. Then I realized that I didn't have a lot of her stories that I could piece together because I'm just one small aspect of her life. She's got her love life, she's got her adult life, she's got her journey, she's got her chasms that she crossed, a lot of difficulties that she's crossed over, a lot of struggles that she had, the people that she met, the places that she went. I realized that I couldn't capture a lot of these pieces of stories of her life. And because being a daughter, I wanted to remember her and her life that she has ever walked on the earth. So then I realized that, hey, we don't have a lot of things to document because we don't write journals and we don't write diaries anymore, right? So I realized that at some point in time, we would have either lost our stories because we've forgotten about them or we did not document them at all, or that at a certain point of time when we wanted to do that, they're all lost. Or when someone wants to document about you, then they couldn't find anything. So I realized that that is very important because for the sheer reason of we lived on this earth. We have walked here, and I didn't want her life to be of nothing. I didn't want to forget about her, because I struggle a lot as a daughter, that this is someone that meant so much to me, but it's like poof, like she's just gone. I couldn't, I think for many, 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 many months, for the first couple of years, I couldn't reconcile the fact at all. Um, I couldn't reconcile because you can't sink in, and I can't explain until maybe some of you read my book. But the first motivation was wanting to document my mother's life, but I couldn't find anything. Then I started to think, hey, I need to help people document their lives. I need to help people because one day they will realize that they have not documented their lives and they've forgotten anything. But I wanted
Yes,
to
I agree.
help people.
Yeah.
So I started off interviewing my friends, Gladys, she had a very tumultuous relationship with her mother. People go to my YouTube channel, talk about life below. It's done in a really rough manner, but I would say that in the roughness of things, it's authentic. I think that's most important. You don't have to have the best camera, angles and the lights and the equipment. I don't even have a proper um, microphone here. But I think that authenticity shines through. So I documented my friend Gladys, and this is always something for you, Prita, and for the people out there to hear is that everyone thinks their lives are nothing, because when I go and say, hey, I want to ask you about your life, do you want to talk about your life, and people will just stare at me with a blank stare. They will say, no, my life means nothing, I've got nothing to talk about my life, but I just want to say you are everything. So when I knew my friends, I knew that Ginger, she's Ginger Gladys. I knew Gladys had a very tumultuous relationship with her mother for a long time. I've known her for a long time, and I said, could we talk about your relationship with your mom and the struggles? I've heard so much about it, but I want to really just um, get it in record for you. I told her. Not that the world needs to know, the world doesn't need to know her. The world doesn't need to know, but I wanted her to talk about it for her so that in years to come, she's got something up there for her children and for herself. So,
Yes.
if, ladies and gentlemen, if you look below, talk about live in YouTube, you will see me interviewing Ginger Gladys about her relationship um, with her mom. Um, and because she didn't want to be on camera, I just shined my camera, focused my camera on her hands. And it was so real and so emotional that she kind of cried. And I cried. And we were recording because I asked her about questions that I knew only a friend could ask. And I think God gave me that flair and the kind of a little bit of talent, I call it. I would call it just a flair that I kind of knew what to ask, and I kind of touched the core. And she just cried, and we did it in the car because, in the car, nobody could hear our conversation. And I kind of
Yes.
just videotape her hands. It was really, really emotional. I really cried at some point because she talked about her relationship with her mom ever since she was young. So the that kind of like jolted me that I would really, really want to do this because she's my friend. I knew what to ask, and I think I had what it takes to bring out someone's story. And then I went to ask, and that series is called Mothers and Daughters. Please go down and take a look. It's so emotional. Even I look at it, it's like it's so raw, authentic, and it just hits women. These stories hits women. Men doesn't get it. Then the next person I went to was my friend Servine. She had a tumultuous relationship with her children. She has 5 children. Serene. She's one of my church sisters, and she's such a tumultuous relationship because when I went to her house, she would be shouting at the daughter, and the daughter would be shouting at her, and she would be having such kind of verbal fights between her and her daughter. Um, and I knew that she would have a lot of things to say, but because she was so open at her age, I think she wanted to talk to tell her children her side of the story. So she willingly came up to talk about life when I interviewed her over 2 sessions in a day, over 2 sessions, that she's got so much things that she poured out. She talked about when she was young, she was working in a farm, and she talked about her children didn't know how fortunate they are now. That's why she kind of felt that they were like taking life too easy. She was talking about so much things that she struggled as a young kid. She was talking about she was in the farm when she was really, really small. She needed to help out, and then she got married, etc. Because her parents wanted her to have a better life, so she got married into a gentleman was more well-to-do, who owns some businesses, and of course, her parents had hopes for her. So she talked about that very, really, really authentic. So I want everyone in the era of AI, I think we have to go down to get back to the roots of being human. I've talked so much about business. I've talked so much about AI. We've talked so much about politics. I think in the face of the changes of the world that is spinning so fast, if you look at the news today, I got such a shock over the last couple of weeks. I mean, it just jolts me out of my comfort zone. I think people do need to go back to the roots of being human. So go back to some of these 10-year-old videos that I did. I mean, it's such a wonder. 10 years have passed when I first did my very raw, kind of really raw, rough videos, but I just wanted it to help my friends. But then the engine went, and I interviewed my friends, da 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 da. And then when the pandemic hit, I went to officially podcast Spotify, etc. That's where the rest of it is history. That's where I met you, and I've got so many people across the globe. I also want to make a shout out to my pandemic series, the global pandemic in 2020, when the world shut. I had a 30-part series, both on my Spotify in sounds, and also on YouTube, where I interview people all over the world when the world shut down, when there was no news, because everyone was just at home and there weren't a lot of news out there. And that was a crazy part of the world. And if the pandemic could hit without an announcement, ladies and gentlemen, just sit tight, buckle your seats, because we don't know what's going to hit us. And I'm giving out a warning to everyone. We really don't know what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
I
And
agree.
as Jesus Christ said, I don't want to be really religious here, but because I'm a Christian, it says that He's going to come to the world and He's going to live to His promises. That's all I'm going to say. And if you look at the events of the world, we are just teetering step by step into very, very dangerous waters. But I just want everyone to know that I just want to be positive. I want to be the light. That's why we're doing the podcast, because my calling, I don't have a big calling. I'm just a very, very simple human being. My calling is everyone. We have to go back to the roots, go back to the community, love those that is worth it, and love those who is not worth it, which is tough, Prita. So back to you, Prita. What have you got to say? I know you do have your TikTok stuff. Do you want to say anything in response to what I've said and your aspirations for yourself? A quick
I
one.
mean, with the COVID
Time.
situation, that's something that we cannot control, lah. But I must say that it's good to be positive, good to see how
Yeah.
things go. And nowadays, there are a lot of things happening with the weather and climate change. Yeah, so even when I'm going to go to Sydney, I already know that it's going to be cold and it has been
Yeah.
raining profusely.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty prepared. But what I'm trying to say that,
Yeah.
we have to look forward to things and see in a positive way. And probably, like you mentioned, like you have been doing many different kinds of podcasts, different
Yeah.
kind of series with
Yeah.
different people. I think it's a really good experience what you have been doing. And 10 years, right? You were saying 10 years, correct? So it's
Yeah.
this year marks a very significant year for you. And therefore, you should celebrate it basically with me when I'm back.
I want to
All right.
celebrate by having a very big expo.
Oh
I
yeah.
do. I
Oh,
mean it, because when it's not about me,
mm-hmm.
Frida. It's about the people who have walked on this earth.
Uh-huh.
And I want to shine the light on the people who have been in the podcast, because we have got this kind of intertwined destiny that we are in this path. People who have been with me, I don't want their lives to be the same after they meet me. That's my motto. It means I do want them to fly. Even though I'm a very simple girl myself, but what I'm trying to say is, um, I hope that life will be better after you meet me. And my podcast is not about me, it's about the people. It's about your life is important because you've walked on this earth and you've breathed the CO2 out. You have thrown the tonnage of carbon into the atmosphere. You mean something. And when you die, you return
Uh-huh.
to the ground as carbon. And we
Correct.
know that the
Agree.
world is made up of carbon. That's why we've got fossil fuels to burn, right? The world is just made up
Yes.
of carbon. Um, and of course, we talk about climate change, and if you look at the news, Singapore is trying to build this huge ridge just to prevent the water, the seawater from coming in. But how much can we fight the forces of nature? So that's a quick shout out. Candle in the Wind. Again, this is in the National Library. Thanks to my mother for the story, and also thanks to her. She kickstarted my journey as an author. And my latest book, um, uh,
Oh yes, I remember this
Don't Let
one.
Them See You Sweat, Gold Nuggets for a Girl Boss, something that I'm really proud of. Something that I think it's not perfect. Everything, it's always a learning journey. If it's perfect, means from here it's downwards. So I think it's better not to be the best. It's always good to be the journey. I don't want it to be the best because I want it to be always growing. Um, and I hope that the next few books will be built on books like this, books on edification, books on growth for women. I speak for women. I don't speak for women. I speak for myself. But if there's something that I could share with women, I hope to, and I hope that you and I could do any more events on this.
Yeah,
Prita,
hope so.
are you looking
Soon.
forward to that?
Yes, of course, we will see how it goes once I'm written, and we can plan something. We can do a little event, invite people, and maybe invite more people in the future as well.
Yeah, and I've got another book, Gold Nuggets, Communications, Your Superpower, second edition. I've got more books coming up, but I just want to thank Prita for your wonderful support. You are not only a digital friend, digital supporter, but also a personal dear friend, a dear sister. We meet in very, very, to me, it's always like a destiny. Our paths
Yes,
crossed.
yes,
Um,
we meet
and
for a reason.
yes, yes, yes. And I've got so many students who walked past me, and like you yourself, a teacher, a lecturer, you've got so many wonderful students who walk past you. You always want people to be better after they meet you, right? Prita, how's your
Yes,
journey as a teacher, as a lecturer? A
I
quick one,
think.
a quick one
Okay, I
before you
just
go.
quickly, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think so far it's okay. I did, I do enjoy teaching. Teaching is my
yeah,
passion. I
yeah,
also learn from my students because I teach modules on media, communication, and culture
yeah.
studies.
Mm,
And sometimes they share about their experiences and things like that. So my classes are very different, like very we engaging. I talk to them. We have activities, group discussions. I think I learn a lot from them as well. So I
yeah,
think it's about school can be quite fun as well. I think
yeah,
so far my students are really nice and friendly as well. Yeah, all
yeah.
good from my side. Yes,
So I wish you all the best for
you
your
too, Vicky. Yeah,
journey in Sydney.
yes, coming
Definitely for
soon.
me, I've got lots of things lined up. It's a new journey for me.
Mhm.
And a shout out to anyone who would like to collaborate. Please write to me officially at Vicky at gdmeducation.com. I do get a lot of spams. Don't spam me. I do get a lot of, I think you do that too, right? You do get a lot of unwanted comments in your TikTok, right?
Yes, I think it's pretty normal, but yeah, it could be
Yeah,
some spam, and I just delete.
okay. So don't ask me for money, that's all.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
okay,
recently
don't
there was
ask.
a case about
Yeah,
a lady gave $250,000
yeah,
to another person, thinking that
yeah.
that guy is a police official. I mean, that's
Mm,
crazy. $250,000, and like for some people, it can be a down payment for a house.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
kind
God.
of creepy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in Singapore, I think over at least a couple of years, we have lost over like hundreds of millions of dollars over scams. So be careful of
Yeah,
artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence hackers and
correct. Yeah.
AGI. If you don't see me, or even if you see me one day here, I may be fake. And I'm not kidding.
Oh,
The technology has evolved so much that we really have to have a control over it rather than it has a control over us. So, on that note, I just want to thank Prida and wish you all the best
thank you
for your
very much,
flight to
Vicky. Yeah.
Australia, and I hope to
Yes.
join you. I miss a lot of travels. I used to travel so much on my own. Those days, I've been to like 25 countries. I travel so much and I enjoy it so much. I kind of like after COVID, I kind of like calm down a little bit,
Pause. Yeah.
just to pause and not take unnecessary flights. I prefer going to the beaches rather than get stuck in the plane. So thank you to you and all those who miss me, my digital friends. You know who you are here. Love to you, all my friends, Annette, and I think Karen Alston um, in the US. I miss you, Karen. Please come back, text me, and also Preet Srivastava from New York, text me, and also Stephanie, text me. I miss all of you, and I also have some of my friends. I don't have time to keep up with everyone. So I just want to wish everyone all the best in this season, and that may the next quarter of 2025 bring more good wishes and more good health and more blessings to everyone. Bye.